They call him Seatin, the man of legends.
Hey guys, what is up? It is Seatin here. Hello and welcome to Chronicles Zerging Part 3. In this video, we're going to be quickly dashing through Infernal Dawn Layfist, doing all the hard modes along the way. Now this, due to the sort of volume of trash in this instance, it is the longest Chronicle to do by far, so it does take us quite a bit of time to get through, and due to the way that it works with the snipers in the later part, there aren't many options to mount up and skip the trash if you want to live, essentially. It's a bit annoying, and also, as you can see, that mob just tugs you back, and you have quite a few mobs that are just really, they're not skippable, and it's not ideal to skip them at all. So, onto the first boss, McLemore Sir. His hard mode is initially fairly challenging because you need to know where all the crystals are and be ready to run extremely fast, but once you get familiar with the locations, then it becomes a lot more simple. Now, when the first Juggernaut comes up, what we're doing on Skype is we're actually coordinating interrupts, so I will always take the first interrupt, and then Saligia will take the second one, and I will take the third one if there is a third interrupt, but usually due to the amount of DPS we have, which is pretty damn high, considering, you know, we're okay geared. We're sort of a mixture of tier 1 and tier 2 geared, so fairly decent stats going on here, but we both know our rotations moderately well. You know, I can't say I'm perfect at it, but, you know, pulling out some fairly decent numbers. So as you can see, the Juggernauts go down fairly fast, and we always sort of return to the middle, which allows us to, whenever we get a bomb, run to the designated crystal extremely fast, and if we do mess up, we keep judicial privilege off cooldown, so that we can use that as a speed increase if, you know, we do have a bit of a moment of panic to prevent us from dying. So that's pretty awesome. So yeah, it's fairly straightforward. McLemore, stand in the middle and nuke him, run to the designated bomb area when you get a bomb, and nuke the Juggernauts, and if there are two of you, try to rotate interrupts between you. So as you can see, that went down fairly easily. So we'll just quickly loot McLemore, and also not forgetting his hard mode chest. I think one thing that's slightly annoying about the Chronicle hard modes is you have to manually loot every one of the hard mode chests. They're not actually on the boss, which kind of, I don't know, I've never liked. I think they should automatically be given to you instead of looting a chest, because it's sometimes I just forget them. It would be a nice quality of life change if you instantly got rewarded it instead of having to loot a chest. I know it's like very small, but it would make for a nice improvement, and I don't see why it couldn't happen. So as you can see, we're dashing down here, checking for the chests both in the right and left location out the corner of our eyes, but unfortunately none of the chests were there, and we're going to go up the ramp. We're not going to pull anything else. I believe Saligia actually is just going to the right to kill one of the long shots, but then I actually deterred her from doing that because I wanted to make this video as fast as possible, and usually we don't bother with the daily quest, but she's very adamant on doing the daily quest as she doesn't have well, she's close to maxing some reputation, and she wants to get that done as fast as possible, but I was like, no, you know, for my subscribers, I need to make this run as fast as possible, woman, so let's do this video really fast and not bother with the daily quest, which we don't usually bother with anyway. It's much better, in my opinion, to do them over the duration of 2 runs. So that's just my opinion on them, because they don't really reward marks or anything, and usually I'm very time constrained in the amount of time that I have to play when we do these Chronicle runs. So for this, what you'll see is for that chest, what I could do was I could hide behind that, loot it, and avoid killing both of the snipers and also the Fellblades, which shaved about 30 seconds off the run. So, you know, that's a pro tip. When you can line of sight and loot the chests when they spawn, it's highly suggestible to do that. Now, when we get to Rusilla, you'll see we've kind of split up. Now, what I do is I clear the left half of the ship, and she clears the right half, and I also sort of deal with all the barrels and making sure all the hatches are destroyed, and she turns on hard mode and clears the right half of the ship, and, you know, it works fairly well. We get the ship cleared, and as you can see, placing a barrel of Dragon's Breath. Ideally, you want to sort of when you've got a large group of ads on you, if you can get them caught in the barrel explosion, that will kill like the majority of them. I believe it's sort of designed to shave 90% health off all of the ads, so ideally you want to get them caught in that barrel explosion if you do have a lot of them, and also these sort of big, I believe they're called dread kegs or something like that, the big ones that take a lot of reduced damage. Ideally, you want to have them in the barrel explosions, and you can see just in a matter of about 45 seconds to a minute, I've managed to clear the left hand of the ship, blow up all of the hatches, and now we're going to go in for the last hatch. Now, you can carefully place it so it hits both the last hatch and also the heart of Rusilla, and she's also dropped a bomb on the heart as well for additional damage, and then we'll quickly nuke that down before taking out Rusilla herself. So, fairly straightforward, just burn the heart there. It's plenty of time and it's very easy to do in one keg with 2 people. And now we're moving on to Rusilla. Now Rusilla has a fairly predictable pattern. What she'll do is shortly after engaging she's going to do a dread shot, and then about 5 seconds after that she's going to do 1,000 cuts. Now for 1,000 cuts we need to run out and then look where the blades are going and then sort of find the gaps between them and then get back to the boss, because if you get hit by any of those blades in 1,000 cuts they deal like something stupid like 4 to 8k damage per tick and will slice through your health pool extremely quickly. And then it has inner and outer raft, so you need to get out and then in again. And unfortunately Saligia failed at this mechanic on the video, but usually she's pretty pro at it. But you'll see if you have about 20k health, you'll be able to survive if you're fully topped up, even if you do fail at the mechanic. However, if you're standing at an awkward angle, it may be likely that you get sort of punted off the ship. But, you know, ideally you do want to avoid that. So, once we've killed Rusilla, we go into sort of Laphis' main chamber, so we're going to head down that corridor now. The trash here usually hits pretty hard, because it's 2 of these golden collectors, which are melee mobs, which just hit for, they melee for like 2 to 3k, which is pretty damn ridiculous. So what we do is we use a monotron and put the healing aura on and just stand in it to counter the damage pretty easily, so we don't have to heal each other or use any cooldowns. Then we'll just flick the hard mode button on and then go straight for Laphis. Now, due to me sort of having slightly better gear and doing more damage, I'm usually the one that ends up with her aggro and tanking her. So what I need to be wary of is to sort of move out of her breath and also continue to move out of the AoEs that are spawning. Now it's fairly easy the first phase when you have 2 people, because it's just you nuke her down to 30% quickly and just move out of the red piles, which will continue to expand. And when she's doing that gold breath, I need to quickly dodge out of that, or I will take about 10k damage per second, which will quickly cut through my health. So just a reminder, guys, this is hard mode, and every fight that you have seen is hard mode, and you'll see, you know, how easy it is to cut through them when you're more comfortable with the mechanics, and you also, you know, can pull out the DPS. I mean, even in some starter 60 specs, you can pull near to our DPS. You just need to get comfortable with the fights, which does take a few runs, admittedly. So then Laphis comes up with phase 2. So what we tend to do is we tend to save most of our cooldowns for this to try and avoid a gold pile from spawning and having to do sort of all the line of sight mechanics. So as you can see, you know, we'll just dig into Laphis as fast as we possibly can. Now, usually if you're soloing the hard modes or your DPS isn't that good, the ads that are spawning right now, the ones that look like sort of little golden nuggets, or whatever you want to call them, nugget rock monsters, usually it's a good idea to kill them, but instead, due to the fact that we have quite high DPS, we just chain fear them. So Saligia will cast her fear and I'll cast my fear, and then they'll just end up like permanently CC'd. And then when sort of for the 10 to 15 seconds while they aren't CC'd, we'll just use Judicial Privilege to withstand the damage that they're doing. Apart from that, you know, it's just fairly easy. Move out of all the AoEs that are spawning, dodge the fists, and dodge the purple, and it's a fairly easy kill. So yeah, that's it, guys, for part 3 of Infernal Dawn Laphis Zerg. Stay tuned for part 4, which is Queen's Gambit, Hive, Cask of Fu, and the final part of it, where I'll teach you how to sort of zerg through it quickly, and also how to search for Lung Feeder and some of the more hidden chests in Queen's Gambit. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching, and take care.